We have this practice test here. The first half of this test is on simplifying. Okay, simplifying radicals, square roots, cube roots, fourth roots, fifth, sixth roots. If you want to see any of that work on the first half, you could watch videos 1 and 2 that I've recorded previously. Right now we're going to be focusing on the second half of this practice test. I believe this is the easier half. Number 16 through 19, it's writing expressions in radical form or changing them to exponential form. So if they give you an exponent, you want a radical. If they give you a radical, you want an exponent. It's that simple. So it's as easy as this. The square root is really the power of 1/2. So if they have the power of 1/2, you want to rewrite it as a square root. So what would that be?
Square root 12x.
Is it the square root of 12x?
No. Oh no. 12 square root of x. Yes, 12
So definitely not. It is 12 square root of x. Now the thing is, what has the power of 1/2? Only the x. Only the x has the power of 1/2, which is why only the x is inside the square root. This 12 is just a regular 12 that's out in the front. There's a regular 12 out in the front. It would be a different story if you did have the 12 in parentheses with the x, then to the 1/2. Then yeah, it would be the square root of 12x if you had parentheses around it. But in this problem, we do not. So this is the answer, 12 out front, square root of x. Okay? So just keep that in mind, that if you did have parentheses, then you would include it all in the square root.
That's the answer, just like that.
Yeah, all you're doing is rewriting it. They're not asking you to simplify, they just want you to change the form. So this one's radical form, they want you to change it to exponential form. So right here, notice that the whole thing, 20 and x, are in the square root. So the whole thing, 20 and x, are going to be in parentheses to the power of 1/2. And that's it. That's your answer. That's like free points, right? Everybody should get this stuff right. Don't mess up on it. Moving on, number 18. This one's a little more challenging. We need to remember this form, that when you have any type of root to any number, I want to call it b, the base, to whatever power, you're going to be able to reorganize it, and say that it's going to be your base to a fraction that is an exponent that's a fraction. And on the exponent position, if we put a fraction bar, up on top we'll have the power, and on the bottom we'll have the root. Okay? So this is what you need to know. Okay? So this top one is what? The power or the root? Power. And this bottom one's the power or the root? The root. So it's this simple. You're going to, the fourth root of x to the third. That's it. That's it. Done. Let's move on. 19. Now, don't get confused with this guy, because if you're thinking, oh, power goes up on top, okay, that is true, but remember, we have this whole thing inside the radical. The whole thing inside of the radical. So you need to put that whole thing in parentheses. So you're going to put the 25 x to the third in parentheses, and that's going to be to the what power? To the 1/5 power. And that's it. You don't do anything else. You just leave it. Okay? And that's it for the changing. So those 4 questions, and let me tell you, there's going to be 20 questions only on the test. So out of those 20, 4 of them are exactly that, just changing the way they look. Okay? Now, there's 5 questions that are going to be exactly like these. These come straight from the worksheet. They're slightly modified, just like on the test. They might be slightly modified. They might be exactly the same. But what you're going to do is get a calculator, and we need to make this big number become a 3 to a certain power. So you need a calculator for this. Let's just say I want to take my Texas Instrument, and I want to put 3 caret, and I'm just going to guess at it. Give me a number, please. I'll guess at it. 6? 3 to the 6th power is 729. Okay, so on my calculator, just to show you, I went 3 caret 6, and that gave me 729. That's way too small. So give me a different guess. 3 caret 9. That's 19,000. Okay, that's too big. 3 caret 9 on my calculator gave me 19,006. 8? Okay, let me try it. 3 caret 8 on my calculator. Yes, exactly right. So 3 caret 8, that's really 3 to the 8th power. That is 6561. And that's the one that we're looking for. So this is the deal, guys. That 3 to the x, we're going to leave it 3 to the x. Then there's an equal sign. And the 6,561, we're going to change that to 3 to the 8th. Exactly. And now that we have the same exact base, now we could just delete the bases. You could just scratch out that 3 and that 3. What's going to be left? X equals 8. Now sometimes you'll actually have an equation that you need to solve. But right here, x equals 8, that's it, you're done. That's your answer for number 20. It is easy. So half of this test is easy. The other half's pretty challenging, the simplifying, right? When you have cube roots, fifth roots, sixth roots, and you got to split up all those roots and simplify. That's pretty challenging. This second half, I think, is really easy. So let's make sure we do well on the whole thing. But this video is on the second half. So 21, we want to change that 729 to become 3 to a certain power, right? I don't know what power it is. I'm going to find out with the calculator. But over here I have 3 to the x minus 4, and it's equal to 3. I need it to be equal to 3 to a certain power. So on your calculator, just guess at it. 3 to the...
6.
Okay, I was going to do 3 to the 5th, which is too small. 3 to the 6th, right, is correct. So with the calculator, you verify that 3 to the 6th is 729. Now that you have the same base 3 right here and base 3 right there, you can just scratch them out. They're gone. And your new equation will be x minus 4 equals 6. And yeah, when you solve it, add 4 to both sides, you will get x equals 10. X equals 10. Let's move on to number 22. Where is it at? Sorry. 22. Again, we have the base 6. We need the base 6. So we have 6 right here to the x minus 2. And we need a 6 over here as well. But we need a certain power. I don't know. Is it 5th? Yeah? Okay, so I'm a calculator just to verify 6 to the power of 5. It is 7,760. I can't even read right now. 7,776. So that is a 5 right there. So the 6's, you could just scratch them out. They're gone. Your new equation becomes x minus 2 equals 5, which means that your final answer is going to be what?
7.
Yep. When you add 2 to both sides, you get x equals 7. Moving on. Number 23.
It's 4 to the 8.
Wow, you guys, okay, you're getting really good at this. So yeah, because we have the base 4, we need base 4 over here. So we have base 4 to the 3x plus 2. And we're going to say that it equals base 4, and what's that power? 4 to the 8th power. Just to verify on my calculator, I'm going to do 4 to the 8th, and sure enough, it is 65,536. So there is a 8th power up here. And now that I have the same base 4, you could scratch them out, scratch them out. Your new equation becomes 3x plus 2 equals 8. You're going to subtract 2 to both sides, and you will get 3x equals what? Equals 6. Final step. Divide by 3. Final answer. X equals 2.
2 to the 13.
What?
The next one is...
Oh, the next one. You guys are giving me the next one already? All right. So, yeah, that one, you probably will take a while to figure it out, unless you worked ahead like you did. So we have 2 to the 4x minus 3 power, and we need another base 2 right here. And 2 to what power? I would start probably with guessing like 2 to the 8th, 2 to the 9th. You guys tell me it's 2 to the what?
13.
2 to the 13th. So 2 to the 13th is the correct value that'll give you 8,192. So we scratch out the 2's, they're gone. We have a new equation that reads 4x minus 3 equals 13.
You add the 3 to both sides.
Add 3 to both sides.
The 3's cancel out.
The 3's cancel. What else?
4x equals 16.
4x equals 16.
You divide by 4.
Divide by 4.
X equals 8.
X equals 4. Ta-da.
We're gonna have
Can we make a test just on these?
Can we make a test just on the? No, but half of the test is just on these, right?
So if I get all these right and the rest of them wrong?
Then you get a 50%, which is still enough.
Oh,
So that's not good, right?
good.
I know you guys could do these, right? I know you guys could do it. You just need to practice. You just need to practice. And again, I'm making a video just on the second half. This top half, there's previous videos that already have the explanation to them. Let me also tell you this, guys. The actual test is only 20 questions long. This practice test is 25 questions long, right? This first half, the hard part, it's not going to be 15 questions. It's only going to be 11 questions, all right? So it's a little bit shorter than what you have here on your practice test, but everything else is exactly the same. There's going to be 4 questions on changing from radical to radical to exponential, and there's going to be 5 questions on solving these types of equations. It's the same exact format. When you see the test on Tuesday, you're going to think that I'm giving you the same exact paper.
Just different numbers, right?
Just a couple of different numbers. Some of them are exactly the same.
So what if we memorize?
So it's you do